Have you ever wondered what truly lies behind the quiet moments that never make it to the camera, the subtle glances that speak louder than words, the silences that carry more weight than conversations? If you are ready to uncover the real connection between Shen Yue and Miles Wei, the truth that has been hiding in the shadows for far too long, make sure you hit the subscribe button right now because what you are about to hear will leave you breathless. From the outside, everything always looked perfectly controlled. Shen Yue with her soft smile, her polite presence, her calm energy. Miles Wei with his sharp gaze, his warm laugh, his ability to fill any space without even trying. They seemed like two stars orbiting in completely separate worlds, connected only by scripts and scenes and the routine rhythm of the entertainment industry. But anyone who looked closely, really closely, could see that there was something else beneath the surface. Something unspoken. Something quietly powerful. Their connection did not begin with a dramatic moment. It started in the smallest way possible, during a long filming night when the lights were too bright, the air was too cold, and Shen Yue was sitting alone on the far end of the set trying to keep herself awake. Her hair was tied loosely, her voice barely above a whisper as she rehearsed her lines for the next scene. Miles approached her not like a co-star, not like someone trying to impress her, but like someone who simply saw her. Just her. "You look tired," he said gently. She looked up, forcing a smile. "I am fine." "You always say that even when you are not." That line. That simple line. It stuck with her far longer than it should have. From that night forward, Shen Yue began noticing things about him that she had never paid attention to before. The way he listened even before she finished speaking. The way his eyes softened when she laughed. The way he always positioned himself to watch over her without making it obvious. The way he stepped closer when someone spoke to her with too much force. The way he leaned back when she needed space. He understood balance in a way very few people did. But the moment everything changed for her came during a late-night rehearsal. The studio was almost empty, filled only with the echo of their footsteps. The scene required her to cry, to dig deep into emotions she had been avoiding in real life. She tried 3 times. Each time, nothing came. Her frustration grew. She stepped away, her hands trembling, her breath uneven. Miles followed her quietly. He did not speak immediately. He simply stood beside her. "What is holding you back?" he asked. She shook her head. "I do not know." He looked at her for a long time, his eyes almost too honest. "Yes, you do." Something inside her cracked open. She felt the weight she had been carrying pressing against her chest. The fear of disappointing people. The fear of losing herself in expectations. The fear of being too soft or too emotional or too complicated. She lowered her head. "I am tired," she whispered. "Of everything. Of always pretending I am fine." He placed a hand on her shoulder, firm and grounding. "You do not have to pretend with me." Those words sank into her like water into dry earth. She looked up at him, her eyes blurred with tears she did not even realize were forming. And in that moment, for the first time in a long time, she did not feel alone. From then on, their connection deepened in ways she never expected. It was not romance. Not yet. It was something heavier, something deeper, something built from shared silence and unspoken understanding. Miles became the person she ran to when the pressure was too much. The person who walked beside her when she needed to escape the chaos backstage. The person who reminded her that she was allowed to feel things without apologizing. One night, during a wrap-up celebration, Shen Yue escaped to the rooftop because the noise below felt too overwhelming. She stood there quietly, staring at the city lights, when she heard footsteps behind her. "Miles." Without a word, he took off his jacket and draped it over her shoulders. The warmth of the fabric surprised her. So did the silence between them. "Can I ask you something?" he said softly. She nodded. "Why do you keep running from your own heart?" She froze. Her breath caught. "I am not running," she said. "Yes, you are." She looked away. She wanted to deny it. But she could not. Miles stepped beside her, close but not too close, a respectful distance that still felt deeply intimate. "I know you care about people," he said. "I know you try to hold everything together. But you cannot carry the world forever. At some point, you need someone who understands you. Someone who sees you." Her heart pounded painfully. "And you think you understand me," she whispered. "I do," he replied. "More than you realize." Wind rushed past them, cool and heavy, carrying the weight of everything left unsaid. Then came the moment that changed her understanding forever. One evening, during a rehearsal break, Shen Yue overheard two crew members speaking harshly about her. Their words were cutting, unfair, cruel. She stepped into a corner to hide her shaking hands. She tried to breathe, but the weight of humiliation crushed her chest. Miles found her moments later. He saw everything in one look. "Who was it?" he asked calmly. She shook her head. "It does not matter." He stepped closer. "It matters to me." She tried to smile through the sting in her eyes. "You cannot protect me from everything." "No. But I can stand with you when it hurts." Something inside her broke. Softly. Wordlessly. She let out a weak laugh. "Why do you care so much?" His reply was immediate. "Because you matter to me." The air thickened. Her heart trembled. She felt the truth pressing against her ribs. But somewhere inside her, fear whispered that letting herself fall would ruin everything. Her career. Their friendship. The delicate balance they had built quietly and carefully. She drew in a shaky breath. "Miles, I cannot." He looked at her with a tenderness that frightened her. "Why not?" "Because I am scared," she whispered. He nodded slowly. "Then I will wait. No pressure. No expectations. Just support. Just presence. And whenever you are ready to be honest with yourself, I will still be here." Those words. They carved themselves into her memory. From that day forward, Shen Yue could no longer pretend she did not feel the pull between them. She noticed it everywhere. In the way he looked at her during scenes. In the way he always appeared when she needed him. In the way she felt safer around him than anyone else. But the moment she truly understood her feelings came much later. It was after a long emotional day. She had just finished a difficult shoot. She was sitting quietly on the dressing room couch. Her eyes closed. Her mind tired. Miles walked in with a cup of warm tea. He placed it in her hands gently. "You looked like you needed this," he said. She opened her eyes and saw him. Really saw him. Not the actor. Not the colleague. Not the man who always seemed one step ahead. She saw the one person who had stayed beside her through her worst days and her quietest fears. Her heart whispered what she had been denying all along. "I care about him. Deeply. More than she was ready to admit." She held the teacup tightly. Her voice soft. "Miles. Can I tell you something?" He looked at her, waiting. "I think I have been unfair to you. To myself. To everything." He stepped closer. "What do you mean?" She took a breath. A deep trembling breath. "I think I have feelings that I have been too afraid to face." His expression softened with a warmth that nearly pulled tears from her eyes. "You do not need to explain," he said gently. "Just take your time. I am not going anywhere." And for the first time, she believed him. That was the beginning of something new. Something real. Something she had been denying for far too long. Shen Yue did not confess her love. Not yet. But she confessed something even more important. Her truth. And that truth changed everything. Because once you admit what your heart feels, there is no way back. Only forward. The quiet between Shen Yue and Miles Wei stretched, heavy yet strangely comforting. The world outside seemed to fade away, leaving only the two of them in a space that felt both intimate and fragile. Her eyes searched his face, tracing the subtle expressions she had learned to read over countless shared moments, and for the first time she admitted to herself just how deeply she cared. "You've always been here," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Even when I tried to hide from myself." Miles stepped closer, his gaze soft yet unwavering. "I'll always be here. No matter what happens." The words settled over her like a warm weight, grounding her in the reality she had been afraid to face. She remembered every time he had noticed her exhaustion, every gentle reassurance, every moment of silent support that she had long dismissed as nothing, and now it all came rushing back, undeniable and overwhelming. "I thought I was protecting myself by staying quiet," she admitted, her fingers tightening around the edge of her coat. "I thought that if I ignored my feelings, they would go away. But they didn't. They never went away." Miles reached out slowly, hesitating only a moment before taking her hand in his. The warmth of his palm, firm yet tender, sent a shock through her chest. "You don't have to run from your feelings anymore. Not with me." Shen Yue's breath caught. The words she had been holding inside for months, years even, hovered on the tip of her tongue. She wanted to confess, to finally let the truth spill freely, but fear gripped her. Fear of being too vulnerable, of losing the delicate balance of their connection, of what the world might say. "Why does it feel like everything is happening all at once?" she whispered. "I'm scared, Miles. Scared that admitting this will ruin what we have." He tightened his hold on her hand ever so slightly, anchoring her in that moment. "Because love is never simple," he said quietly. "It's messy, complicated, and sometimes frightening. But it's also the only thing worth taking the risk for." Her eyes filled with tears she could no longer hold back. "I care about you," she admitted, voice barely above a whisper. "More than I should, more than I realized." Miles's expression softened into something she had never fully allowed herself to see before, a mixture of relief, admiration, and a quiet intensity that made her chest ache. "Then we face this together," he said firmly. "No more hiding. No more pretending. Whatever comes next, we do it side by side." Shen Yue exhaled shakily, a weight lifting from her shoulders. For the first time, she felt seen, not as the star everyone admired, not as the carefully curated public image, but as herself, raw and human and entirely vulnerable. She reached out, intertwining her fingers with his, and the gesture said everything she had been afraid to voice. Miles squeezed her hand, a silent promise of unwavering presence, of protection, and of shared courage. "You are not alone anymore," he murmured. "And I'm not going anywhere." The city lights outside the window reflected in their eyes, long shadows dancing across the floor as if celebrating their unspoken truth. For a moment, the past fears, the whispered rumors, the hidden tensions, all of it, disappeared. Only this connection remained, real and undeniable, an invisible bond that had finally been recognized. Shen Yue leaned slightly closer, heart pounding. "This feels like the beginning of something," she whispered. Miles smiled softly, the kind of smile that carried relief, hope, and quiet determination. "It is. And we decide how it unfolds, together." In that moment, time seemed to pause. They did not need words to define it, the silence, the touch, the steady presence of one another said everything. Their bond was no longer hidden, no longer silent, no longer a secret whispered in corners and behind closed doors. It was theirs. Fully, profoundly, and irreversibly theirs. And as the first sounds of the world returned, the distant chatter, the hum of streetlights, the faint echoes of footsteps, they stepped forward side by side, ready to face whatever came next. Not alone. Not afraid. Just together. The end.